Darshanopanishad. Darshanopanishad. Darshanopanishad is one of the important Upanishad which contains various practices and suggestions, techniques, methods for the beginners and also to the advanced practitioners of the yoga. Darshanopanishad is almost similar to the Maharshi Patanjali's Ashtanga Yoga with various variations. Darshanopanishad is from the Samaveda. There are 10 khandas. For our convenience, we can say 10 chapters. 10 khandas. And in these 10 khandas, there are 224 mantras are there. And the Darshanopanishad is a beautiful, wonderful discussion between the Guru and the Sishya. The Guru is the Dattatreya and the Sishya is the Samkriti. So Dattatreya Maharshi and his disciple Samkriti, their discussion is the exposition we find in the Darshanopanishad. The 10 khandas are, the first one is the Yama, which contains 10 yamas. Second khanda is a discussion on 10 niyamas. Third khanda is an elaboration and discussion of the 9 asanas. Then the fourth khanda is the Deha Pramanam, a discussion on the human body. The fifth khanda, Panchama khanda, is exclusively on the Nadi Shodhanam and the mudras associated with, especially the Shanmukhi mudra. The sixth khanda is on the practice of pranayama. The seventh one is on the pratyahara. And the seventh, the Saptama khanda, is on the pratyahara lakshanam. And the pratyahara phalam, Ashtama khanda, is on the dharana it is. A beautiful description is given on the dharana, on the external Panchabhuta dharana, and on oneself, Atma dharana. Navama khanda, the ninth one, is on the Savishesha and Nirvishesha Brahma Dhyanam it is. So, 8th khanda is on the Dharanam, 9th khanda is on the Dhyanam, and the last one is on the Samadhi. And this is how the 10 khandas, the 10 chapters, 10 divisions of the Darshanopanishad elaborates in detail the subtle practices involved in the yoga for a person for the higher achievements, for quietening of the mind. The 10 niyamas and the 10 yamas, the 9 asanas, pranayama, pratyahara, dharana, dhyana, all are very practical suggestions, techniques. The first khanda is on the 10 yamas. And the 10 yamas are beautifully described as ahimsa, satya, asteyam, brahmacharya, daya, arjavam, kshama, dhruti, mitaharaha, and shaucham. And talking about this 10 yamas, we find there is a commonality in the commonly known yama of the Maharshi Patanjali's. But here the difference is few additions were given in this. And the discussions are very wonderful. When talking about the ahimsa, the Dattatreya Maharshi beautifully says, Vedoktena prakarena vina satyam tapo dhanaha kayena manasa vacha himsa na chanyatha atma sarvagato chedyo nagrahya iti yamatihi sa cha ahimsa varaprokta mune vedanta vedibhihi means Vedoktena prakarena vina satyam tapodhanaha kayena manasa vacha himsa is to be avoided. Unnecessary involvement in the violence, avoidable violence should be avoided. When we say avoidable violence, is there unavoidable violence? Unavoidable violence, then we have to understand the depth of the entire thing. The entire Srishti Krama, from the Vyasti Samashti to the Parameshti, from an individual to the entire creation, the Jiva Chakra, the life cycle, the life circle, the time cycle, the time circle involves some sort of dependence of life on others, on other lives. So there is always this dependence, interdependence, interrelatedness continues. To maintain this natural dharmic cycle, dharma chakra, what is happening? Elimination, deletion of the lives is a natural sequence. But for the self-aggrandizement, for the selfishness, for the selfish desires to be fulfilled, if a violence is created, then it is the himsaha. That is how the beautifully the Upanishad goes. In the Mahabharatam, there is an elaborate discussion between himsa and ahimsa. This suffices to understand an activity done for the protection of the dharma, an activity done with niswardhata, unselfishness, and selflessness, without any ragadveshas. That activity, if it inflicts a hurt and the violence on other beings, it is considered as not a violence. Similarly, satyam, sarvam satyam varam brahmacha nachanyadriya matihi tachya satyam varam proktam vedanta jnana paragaihi. About the satyam, similarly asteyam, brahmacharyam was beautifully described. It says, kayena vacha manasa strinam parivivarjanam rutau bharya tada swasya brahmacharya taduchyate brahma bhave manascharam brahmacharyam parantapa, a complete abstinence from contact with women by means of the body, word of mouth and the mind, as also with one's own wife. Immediately after the desires, pouncing desires, uncontrollable sensual engagements are to be avoided. That is the celibacy. Practice of celibacy. Then what is brahmacharya? Beautifully, the Darshanopanishad defines a staunch application of the mind to the state of becoming Brahman. Brahma bhave manascharam brahmacharyam parantapa. A complete penance, applying the mind for the Brahma bhavanam. That is brahmacharya. A normal, common understanding of not getting married, living alone, that is not a definition of brahmacharya. Brahmacharya is Brahma bhave manascharam brahmacharyam parantapa. Engaging the mind in the Brahmi sthiti. And for the practice of brahmacharya, what are to be done? We have seen in the earlier sentences. Then it talks about the daya as a part of yama. Then arjavam. Then kshama. Dhritihi. Then mitahara is beautifully, the Upanishad describes. Alpa bhrashtasanabhyam cha chaturdhasha vase shakam tasmad yoganugunyena bhojanam mita bhojanam. What is mitaharam? Mita bhojanam. Mita itself suggests a limit. The mita means a measurement, a limit. And what is the limit? Chaturdha avasheshaha means the fourth, 1/4 is left off. That doesn't mean 3/4 should be eaten. Half is to be eaten moderately and pure food. Then the half of the half is for the water, and the quarter is left out. A moderate and pure food is eaten. And this is the mitaharaha. Then shaucham is beautifully described. Cleanliness is also part of the yama. And of course, the 10 niyamas of the Dvitiya Khanda contains another important dimension. The 10 important niyamas are tapaha, santoshaha, asthikyam, danam, ishvara pujanam, siddhanta shravanam, hrihi, matihi, japaha. These are the 10 part of the niyamas as prescribed in the Darshanopanishad. Darshanopanishad goes in detail what are the practices, how these are to be practices. Tapaha means what? Sharira shoshanam yat tat tapaha ityuchyate budhaihi kova mokshaha kartham kena samsara pratipannavan. Emaciating the body, putting the body, physical body, to a strain, making an effort to enhance the capacity, forbearance of the body. And that is how the tapa has been beautifully described. Ability of the body to withstand toughness. to bring that ability, to increase that ability, capacity of the body to withstand to the external changes, atmospheric changes, ability to maintain natural common balance of the body. All the steps taken for that is the tapaha. Then beautifully description of santoshaha comes. Asthikyam is a very beautiful word used as a part of the niyamaha. Then dhanam, Ishvara pujana is there. Then siddhanta shravanam. How wonderful it is. As a part of the niyama, listening, hearing the siddhanta means texts which propose conclusions, texts which enhance faith, texts which guide one's practices towards the higher lives. That siddhanta shravanam, of course, the Darshanopanishad prescribes it. Pratyagitya avagantavyam Vedanta shravanam buddha, it calls. Vedanta shravanam is the siddhanta shravanam, and that is part of the niyama. Then hrihi. Hrihi is modesty. Modesty, very important quality and character. And then matihi is another beautiful quality, character as a part of the niyama of the Darshana Upanishad. And what is matihi? Gurunacha upadishtopi tatra sambandha varjitaha. Means all the connections are to be cut, which will be disturbing the mind. All the attractions, attachments and connections which are responsible for the distractions of the mind to maintain its stability. And the Upanishad, the Darshanopanishad says, even if the Guru instructs, one should not follow that if it is detrimental to the one's stability of the mind. Then the japaha is the last part of the niyama. Then the Tritiya Khanda talks about the asanas, the 9 asanas. Swastikasana, Gomukhasana, Padmasana, Virasana, Simhasana, Bhadrasana, Muktasana, Mayurasana, Sukhasana. These are the 9 important asanas. And the Darshanopanishad describes them in a simple dimension, how to practice. And at the end of the Tritiya Khanda, what is the benefit of practice of the asana? Asana Jaya Phalam. Very important suggestion it is, very important conclusion of the Darshanopanishad is Asanam Vijitam Yena Jitam Tena Jagatrayam Anena Vidhina Yuktaha Pranayamam Sada Kuru. One can master the world, and after that one can master the pranayama. For a person to master the practices of the pranayama, one has to be a master of the asanas. It is not one has to be the asana of masters. Practice of asanas contribute and help in gaining mastery in the practice of pranayama. This is what the asana phalam. Then the Chaturtha Khandaha talks about the Deha Pramanam, characteristics of the body, contents of the body, the structure of the body, the dimensions of the body. Beautifully it talks. And the seat, the positions of the nadis, the seat and positions of the various chakras, the position and prescriptions, activities, effects of the various pranas, the pancha pranas, the pancha upapranas. Then what are their activities? All these are beautifully described in the Deha Pramanam. And it describes beautifully the names of the 15 important nadis. Ida Nadi, Pingala Nadi, Sushumna Nadi, Saraswati Nadi, Kuhu, Gambhara, Hastajivha, Pusa, Yashashwini, Vishwadara, Varuna, Shankhini, Alambusa, Pursha, then Payaswini. Then it says about Idanadi is the cooling and effect of the Chandra. Pingalanadi is the effect of the Surya. Then the Darshanopanishad wonderfully describes the tithis, the ayanas, the varas, the tirthas are all part in the body, part and parcel of the body, concluding that our own physical body is full of divine qualities. Our own physical body is the Punya Kshetra, Punya Tirtha, Punya Tithi. This is how wonderfully the Upanishad describes. Then we come to the fifth Khanda, that is the Panchama Khanda, which talks about the Nadi Shodhanam, purification of the Nadis, the Idanadi purification, Pingalanadi purification, and how the inhalation and exhalations are to be done. We should be very clear that the Upanishad prescribes slow, balanced, harmonious, synchronized breathing. The flow of the breath in these nadis and the nostrils has to be slow, deep, harmonious and synchronized. The time of inhalation and exhalations are to be longer and longer, deeper and deeper, slower and slower. What method we adopt to it, that is the pranayama method. And by the practice of the Nadi Shuddhi, what happens? Nadi Shuddhi Chihnaha. The symptoms of the correct practice of Nadi Shuddhi. The Upanishad beautifully describes lightness of the body, glowing of the Jataragni, a good digestion. Then a clear expression of the sound, the nada. And there is a feeling of light and effortlessness. And we should always remember a correct, right practice of pranayama eliminates digestive inconveniences, digestive disorders. Then the highest benefit of the Nadi Shuddhi Lakshanam, Nadi Shuddhi Chihnaha is Atma Shuddhi, self purification. Means Ajnanan Milino Bhati Jnanachuddau Vimatyayam. Ajnana Malapankaha means Shuddhi. Atma Shuddhi means what? Ajnana Mala Pankaha. Beautiful word it is. Pankaha is a mud, slush, dirty slush of Ajnanaha. And the Upanishad defines what is Ajnanaha. Ajnanaha is taking this body as our real self. Not knowing our real self and taking it wrongly that the body is the real self. This is the Ajnanaha. And this Ajnanaha is the Mala Pankaha it is. It's a dirty slush. And that is removed, purified by the practice of Nadi Shuddhi. We should understand the highest benefit of the Nadi Shuddhi is the removal of Ajnanaha. And the sixth one is the Shashtha Khandaha, is about the Pranayama. Beautifully, the Darshanopanishad explains wonderfully the Pranayama Vidhi, Pranayama Siddhi, Pranayama Lakshanam. And it says, Roga Nivartaka Pranayama means it removes the rogas, imbalances are removed, balance is restored. Shanmukhi Mudra practice is a beautiful explanation in this sixth khanda. And practicing pranayama with Shanmukhi Mudra is an important practice it gives. And if one masters this pranayama, prasvedaha, pratamaha, paschat, kampanam, muni pungavaha, Utthanam cha sharirasya chihnam eti jite nilehi. Lightness of the body. The lightness of the body is so light that there is a feeling of weightless. It's not just a feeling of the weightless. The body becomes so light, it can float. This is how the benefit of the practice of pranayama in the Shashta Khanda it comes. Then the practice of pranayama also enhances one's mastery over the raga and dveshas. Then Saptama Khanda is on the practice of pratyahara. As we all are aware, pratyahara is the mastery over our senses. The Pancha Jnanendriyas and the Pancha Karmendriyas. The pressure, the push, the pull, and the force of the senses are brought under control, are brought under restraint, and maintaining that stability and the restraining state of the mind, not allowing the senses to be free as a horses, unbridled horses, bridling the horses of the senses is pratyahara. And then the Ashtama Khanda is on the dharana, and this dharana is on the Panchabhutas. Panchabhutas means external. A dharana on the murti, a dharana on the form, a dharana on an object having a name and shape. Every object has a shape and every object has a name. There cannot be an object without a shape and name. Nama Rupa Rahita Vastu is not possible. When there is a Nama is there, there will be a Rupa. When there is a Rupa is there, there will be a Nama. And when there is a Nama and Rupa, there is an object. So this object, name and form. And this name, form and object subjected with the Panchabhutas. Prithvi, Apas, Tejo, Vayu, Rakashaha. Prithvi, varieties of objects, names and forms. Apaha, water, varieties of objects, name and form. So this object, name and form applied to all the five with various combinations and concentration on that is the Panchabhuta Dharana it is. And finally, the Darshanopanishad says, from this external Panchabhuta Dharana, perform dharana on oneself, an internal dharana. Then the Navama Khanda, the ninth one is Savishesha Brahma and Nirvishesha Brahma. And what is the dhyana phalam? The result of the dhyana is Eva Madhyasa Yuktasya Purushasya Mahatmanaha Kramadvedanta Vijnanam Vijayayetana Samshayaha. One gains the knowledge of the Vedanta and gradually he gets liberated. Na samshayaha, no doubt about it. This is how the Navama Khanda of the Darshanopanishad. Then the last one is on the Samadhi. And finally, the Upanishad has an Upasamharam. It sums up completely, and the summing up is a beautiful summed up by the Maharshi Dattatreya, gives to the Samkriti, the disciple, that at the end of all these, one attains the Atman, Atma Tattva. Nirupanam it is. Dattatreyo Mahamunihi Samkritihi Swaswarupena Sukhamasteti Nirbhayaha. One gets established in Sukham and Nirbhayam. Swaswarupena. That is the highest dimension of the Darshanopanishad, describing all the various practices in the entire yoga practices. And Darshanopanishad is the most practical and practice-oriented Upanishad of all the 20 Yoga-Upanishads. Let us conclude here. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti.